Again, I apologize, that's my computer crashing again, or my computer screen. As I was mentioning, in terms of the business scholarships, those would really fall under our general scholarships. So if you're looking at coming to the university as a first-year student, there are first-year scholarships available. And then there's also continuing awards that are available for students once they've already been here for a minimum of a year. So that's sort of part and parcel of our undergraduate student awards. All right, so someone's asking about doing a mechanical engineering program, doing the UK curriculum in India. So they want to know how many years it would take and what are the fees, including accommodation. So that's, as I mentioned, our programs are 4 years in length. If a student is in an A-level curriculum and they want to get into engineering, they would need O-level English, A-level maths, A-level physics, and A-level chemistry. And the combined average from those subjects would need to be approximately, I would say, an A to A minus. It's a little bit hard for me to convert in my head just because I'm not an admissions officer, but if the student is having mostly A's, that would be great. And I'll flip back again to the tuition. So, as I mentioned, the engineering fees are slightly higher than fees in a regular program because students are taking more classes than students in other programs. So you'd be looking at approximately $24,000 a year for the tuition, and you can see the cost of living estimates that are here. There's all different kinds of accommodation, so you'll see that if you're kind of in a general residence on campus and it's a shared accommodation, it's not too badly priced for 8 months. If you're the kind of person that needs an upscale, posh apartment and you want to live on your own, then you can definitely look at paying a lot more for that. So it really just depends on your needs and your preferences. So someone's asking if they've done GCSE in English as a first language, A star, as well as IELTS, a result of 9, but over 2 years ago, would that satisfy the English language requirements? So yes, typically if you've been in an international school or the school where you're studying for the last 3 years, the medium of instruction has been English, you actually do meet our English language proficiency requirements just by virtue of being in the English medium school alone. So in that case, you don't need to present us with IELTS or TOEFL. If your school is not necessarily under the Council of International Schools, and if they're not a member of such a school, we may need to receive a school profile from you. Our admissions office may ask for that, just to attest to the fact that your school is an English medium school. But typically, definitely, if you've been doing all of your courses in English for the last 3 years of your high school experience, that's not a problem. That meets our English proficiency requirements. Someone's quickly asking, where is our college located? So as I mentioned, we do have different campuses. We've got 5 in total, 4 of which are located in Edmonton, which is the capital city in the province of Alberta. And the main campus is called North Campus. That one is where most of the classes occur. We've also got our French campus, which is also located around a 15-minute drive away from the main campus. And then our Augustana campus is our liberal arts campus located in Camrose, and that's around an hour's drive away, and that one is outside of Edmonton. The 2 other campuses currently don't have any classes happening at them, except for, I guess my campus does have some classes, but those would be for the English as a second language and for the continuing education non-credit courses. So in that case, for most of you, that's not going to apply to you. Let's see, there's a pretty long question here. So yeah, it could be a latecomer here. So someone's wanting to join our political studies program, political science. So the cost, as I mentioned, is actually here up on the screen. So that's what you'd be looking at for an estimate in terms of your tuition and fees, and then cost of living. So that will be in front of you. And then in terms of doing your MA, as I was mentioning earlier, if you do want to do a master's degree, we don't necessarily call those funding opportunities scholarships, but they are, as I just said, funding opportunities. So you're looking at getting something like a research or a teaching assistantship, and in that case you'd be helping out, as a TARA. So I see that you're looking into those opportunities, and that's great. So you can definitely, once you're in the department, once you're studying here, you'll be able to, liaise and connect with various professors. And I know in my case, I did my minor in anthropology, and one of the professors and I really connected, and she was able to write a reference letter for me for a different master's program, which I did in education, but she said she would have been happy to recommend me for a master's in anthropology as well. So it was great to make those kinds of connections as an undergraduate student. Someone's asking just to show the list of grad degrees. So there's not really a list of grad degrees that I can really summarize for you or can show on the screen. The different faculties that I pointed out to you, all of those faculties essentially, except for Augustana, that's an undergraduate only campus, so that's the liberal arts campus located in Camrose. All of the other faculties that I showed you have both undergraduate and graduate programs. So if you're interested in doing a program within one of those faculties, you can know that you can do both a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in those faculties. So someone's asking a question, they're from Bangladesh and they want to apply for the MA in economics. It said in the website, it's listed that acceptance into a graduate program in economics at the U of A requires an academic background equivalent to at least one of the qualifications listed below: India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh first class or first division bachelor's degree and first class master's degree. Generally, so she's wondering, or he or she is wondering, if the person needs to then have a master's degree in order to qualify for an MA in economics. It depends on the program. Economics may have that requirement because, unfortunately, some of our programs don't necessarily recognize the 3-year degrees that are done at universities operating on the British system. Some of our programs do, but unfortunately some don't. So they may require that you have an additional 1 year of a master's degree in order to be considered to be considered as eligible for their program. So you may want to talk to the economics department specifically to clarify that, because I don't work for any specific department and definitely not in any graduate program. I can't really answer that question specifically, but as far as I understand, that would probably be the reasoning for that explanation. But as I mentioned, you just might want to contact them to clarify, just to make sure, in case I misunderstood that. Yeah, so again, someone's asking about scholarships, so it could be a latecomer participant. So again, just make sure that most of those scholarships that you would qualify for as an undergraduate student, or that you can be considered for, are automatic consideration when you apply to the university. There's just the Leadership Award and the suddenly it escapes me the name of it. It's the Scholastic Distinction Award and the Leadership Award. Both of those are scholarships that you need to submit separate applications for, and you do need to submit those by December 15th. So you would need to apply to the university before that time in order to qualify for those scholarships, or to be considered for those. Okay. So someone's asking that they're saying that they're currently eligible for 2 scholarships, and can they just upload the transcripts, or do they have to send the hard copies to be eligible for the scholarships? As far as I know, for the scholarship consideration, if you're just submitting for early admission and scholarship consideration, you can send scanned copies of those. But in terms of your final admission and for additional scholarships that you may be eligible for, you will eventually have to send in hard copies. So if you have the hard copies available now and you can send them, I would say go ahead and do so. So someone's asking if we've got programs in political studies, international relations, Canadian studies, etc. We definitely do. We've got political science. You can do either international business in our School of Business, or a program called International Studies. It's an interdisciplinary program, but you can also do specific areas such as Middle East and African studies, Latin American studies, and East Asian studies as well. And we do also have Canadian studies. So there's a variety of options. We've actually got a faculty of Native Studies as well, which is the only faculty of Native Studies in Canada. It specifically focuses on Canadian Indigenous populations, but they do have opportunities for people who are, especially international students, who might be interacting with or of Indigenous descent, of Indigenous populations in other countries as well. So there's some international activities that are happening there as well. So that might be something to look into as well if you want to look at it, look at your Canadian studies more from an Indigenous point of view. It's a really great program and a very small faculty. They describe themselves as being a lot like a small family, just because everybody knows each other. So that's a great opportunity as well. So someone's asking about the funding opportunities for Masters in Human Nutritional Sciences. And is it required to be chosen by a professor before admission? So in that case, as I was mentioning earlier, I'm not really sure. Because all of our master's programs do vary by program. They have the different intakes. Some want you to identify your supervisors in advance and some don't. It's hard for me to answer that question. I would just say go to the department website, and the information actually should be outlined on the website. Typically in their admissions information, they will let you know whether or not you need to have your supervisor identified in advance. Someone's asking if we've got a master's in microbiology, and we definitely do, and that would be housed in our, I believe it's under our Department of Medical Microbiology, or maybe it's under Biological Sciences. So yeah, someone is asking again about undergraduate programs for medicine. I did see that question earlier, and as I was mentioning, there's medical lab sciences, dental hygiene, and dentistry, so those would be the only options available at this time. If you're looking at something in a medical science such as nursing or registered dietitian program, we do have that.